Boxing Nation.
The following program may contain language of an adult nature. Listener discretion is advised. Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the host and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Brothers and sisters! Brothers and sisters! I don't know what this world is coming to.
Hey yo, check this out, this is Flavor Flav, and if you want the whole truth, and nothing but the whole truth, so help the whole truth. Hey yo, you better listen to Dante, baby. Dante!
What's going on, guys, and welcome to another great edition of the Dante's Boxing Nation Show. I am your host, Dante, and we have another great show for you. We have a lot to talk about, man. First things first, my man in the studio with me, always holding it down. What's going on, George?
Holding it down?
All day, all day. That's what I like to hear. So let me go ahead and also introduce my guys on the panel that's always holding it down as well. I got my man Boxing Ego. Check out his website, boxingego.com. I'm not sure if I got my girl, Miss Boxing Baby, in yet, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce her anyway. She always holding it down. Boxing Baby, check out her channel, a.k.a. Moose, all right? And I got my man Eric Morales. Check out his great YouTube channel. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. That is Counter Punch, all right? Now, before we get into the boxing, I don't usually, tell you guys what's gonna, what I have in store for, upcoming shows. But because they promised that they're gonna do the show and they told me to make sure I promote it and plug it, I'm gonna go ahead and plug it. Tune in next week, guys. I'm gonna have Hank Lundy on the show. He just had a press conference with Terrence Crawford, and man, they talking a whole lot of shit. I call it domino talk, boy. It remind me of my uncles and talking shit, playing dominoes, So they talking a whole lot of shit, and that's gonna sell the fight, man. So I give credit to Hank Lundy for even taking that fight. So he's gonna be on the show. Also, manager Vince Caruso. Vince Caruso, he's been in the sport of boxing for about 21 years. He manages Najib Mohammadi, who just recently fought against Sergey Kovalev. He also used to be in the music industry. He was with Ruthless Records. He used to represent Eazy-E. So they'll be on the show next week, so tune in. It should be a lot to talk about next week. Now, first things first, or second things second, I should say, is I also want to say, man, once again, I really appreciate everybody supporting and donating to us. You guys are really helping us out. Once again, this is my full-time job, So everything that I do, it comes out of my own pocket, along with my man Boxing Ego. Like I said, man, if you like what we're doing, if you think the message, if you think the message resonates, go ahead and donate and show the support, because there's not too many people pushing that message out the way we pushing it out. We willing to step in in the line of fire, to get this point out. Okay. I also want to say, once again, man, because I didn't go into detail, but my man Thomas, or it's Tomas, he corrected me. Everybody that's been donating to me, once again, I really appreciate it. My man Tomas, I got to give him another shout out, because this man, he donated $500 to me. Okay, he donated $500 and he left a long message, which I'll probably put the message on the screen for you guys to read. But basically, he said, man, I gotta show you love, because I love the message that you're putting out there, and Dante, you've always been consistent with this message. And he added Ego, and I believe he added all of us, but like I said, I'm gonna put the transcript in the on the video on the screen, so you guys can actually check it out. Excuse me. Okay, so let's get into it. Enough rambling. Let's talk some boxing, guys. So we have a lot to talk about this week. Finally, we had a little bit of a layoff, man, when it comes to boxing, right? I was missing me some boxing. Thank God I had DVR watching all them old fights. But this week, we got some serious fights. We have some heavyweight fights. The heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder, is fighting this weekend against my man Spilka. Okay, so that should be a great fight. Spilka is talking a whole lot of shit. He said he's improved since he lost to Jennings. This should be a very interesting fight. He's short, he's quick, and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how quick Deontay Wilder can get him out of there, or it'll be interesting to see if Spilka can turn things around and pull off the upset. I truly believe that Deontay Wilder will take care of him. Let's start with you, Eric Morales, man. How do you see this fight? Is this just another typical knockout and on to the next one for Wilder, or what?
It's supposed to be. It's definitely supposed to be. This is supposed to be a highlight reel knockout, according to Deontay Wilder himself. So we're definitely looking forward to see if he can come through with that prediction. As far as Spilka, Spilka, I think that's how you say his name. I'm sorry about that. He's definitely on a nice little win streak after that loss to Jennings. Does he have enough? I'm not sure, but I definitely believe in his trainer, Ronnie Shields, and I think they'll have a game plan that'll at least frustrate the champion for 5 or 6 rounds. After that, I think Deontay is going to have pretty much a field day. So let's see if Spilka can prove me wrong. I'm hoping he does so, but I think Deontay is going to have a little too much for this guy.
A Boxing Eagle, do you see any resistance in this fight, or is this just like I said, like he just said, part of the highlight reel? What do you think?
I think a lot of fans complain about a lot of these matchups that are coming up, but I have no problem with this particular matchup. It's the first fight that the first heavyweight fight that Brooklyn has seen in 115 years. I'm sure some of you guys didn't know that. And not only that, but there's a second heavyweight fight on the card, right? So, I mean, that's history right there for boxing. And then as far as the fight, Spilka has one loss to Brian Jennings, who is not a bad. We've seen him get, he was getting hammered by Luis Ortiz, and he was still making it competitive. After the first round, he won the second round. So that just goes to show you the caliber of Jennings is with little amateur background. So losing to a guy like that is not bad. Plus, Spilka, he switched trainers. He was Ronnie Shields, a respected trainer. And if you look at old Spilka pictures, he looked softer, like in the midsection and stuff. But now he looks kind of like he leaned down and got in better shape and stuff. So he's talking a lot of shit, like you said, Dante. So I mean, that's the thing you got to worry about, especially in the heavyweight division. One punch can change everything. So I'm not picking Spilka to win per se, but those guys are always dangerous when they're that confident because a lot of people show Wilder respect based on his power, his height, and his frame, and Spilka's talking to him like he's a chump. You know what I'm saying? So it could be interesting. I would have to take the champion and the safe bet, the bigger, taller guy who hasn't been stopped as a pro. So I'll pick Wilder.
Yeah. We're all picking Wilder. Moose, are you on the phone? Okay, she's not on the line right now, so we'll move on. So something else I wanted to say about Spilka. That should be his nickname. Spilka. Since he's been with Ronnie Shields, it does look like he has improved. Like Ego just said, he's got a lot slimmer. He's tightened. He looks a little bit more tighter and everything. He looks faster to me. He just looks a little bit faster. He takes a good punch too. Because I've been watching him get tagged, and he's not getting hit by welterweights. He's getting hit by heavyweights. So he takes a good punch, and a lot of people, they get written off when they lose. But sometimes, that makes a fighter better. Getting knocked out, losing. Sometimes it seems like all of a sudden the person's chin is better. So I can't wait to watch it. It's just more fun. Fun stuff to watch. It's some good boxing.
Deontay,
Go ahead.
Before we leave this subject, do you think Spilka? Do you think he's going to try to bum rush him, or do you think he's going to try to sit there and bring Deontay Wilder in? I've been debating on that. Natural thing is to think he's going to bum rush him and try to do what Jason Gavern did for the first few rounds, or something of that nature. But I kind of have a feeling he's going to lay back and try to lure Wilder into kind of a wild shot and try to counter. But we'll see. I'm just curious what you think.
But see, it would seem that the keys to victory would be to stay close to him, because you don't want to be on the outside where that long ass right hand can hit you. So it would seem like it would be smarter for him to close the distance and get underneath those long hands or those long arms. Because that's what people have been questioning when it comes to Wilder, is how good his inside game is. Duhaupas, he did some good work, for as long as it lasted on the inside. You know, he was walking, he was pushing back Wilder the whole night. So I think it would make more sense for Spilka to take that blueprint and take that approach. But at the same time, though, Eric, you probably do have to be a little versatile in there. So maybe you know, a couple rounds. How many rounds? Woo, that's a tough one, Eric. You know what? I can't even throw one out there, man. I would probably say around 7 to 9, man. That's actually where I'm at. Those are my lucky numbers. What about you, Ego? What's your lucky number?
Yeah, probably right around there, or Duhapa. Whenever Duhapa got stopped, somewhere around there, because I think Spilka's tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah. Around Eric Molina stoppage or Duhapa, something right around that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll be interesting. So let's move on and let's briefly just touch on the undercard. This is a good fight, man. I mean, a lot of people don't know about Charles Martin, but I've been telling you guys for a while that I've been really impressed. I only seen one whole fight of Charles Martin, but once I seen that fight, you know, I went on YouTube and I started watching all his other fights, and he looks very impressive. He's about 6'5". He's a southpaw, but he has a very slick style, and he's very intelligent. He's not like some of these tall fighters that don't know how to control range and use the jab. This man, he knows how to counterpunch. He knows how to set things up. I love how he uses the touch jab. Sometimes he throws the touch jab like Floyd Mayweather, and then other time he surprises you with a stiff jab, and then he'll surprise you. You think he's going up high, he's going down low. Very intelligent fighter, slick and crafty for a heavyweight, and he's going to be fighting against Glazkov. You know, and this is going to be for the IBF title that they stripped Tyson Fury for. You know, so this is good, man. This is really good. And Glazkov is not a pushover. He beat Cunningham, and he's been on a little bit of a winning streak. You know, so this is a good fight, man. This is a really, really good fight, and this once again just makes the heavyweight division look even better. You know, whoever wins this fight, you know, they're in the sweepstakes. You know, to either get Deontay Wilder or the winner of Vladimir Klitschko's rematch. Excuse me. Okay, so let's move on, guys. You know, I promise some of you guys that I'll start responding to some of your comments in the comment section. Excuse me. If you want to ask us a question, if you want to ask the entire panel a question, just me, just Ego, just Eric, just Moose, whoever you want to ask, go ahead and ask the question in the comment section, okay? So, you know, this person right here, I don't really know if I can say the last name right, but I'm just going to throw it out there. You know, this is what Eric Morales told me to say, so we're going to blame it on Eric, you know? So, this guy's name is Christian Lanez. You know, that's how we're going to say it. It's Christian Lanez. Basically, he was responding to something we talked about last week. We talked about all of the fighters that were avoiding Terrence Crawford. You know, if you guys don't know by now, it was reported that Pacquiao, Ruslan Provodnikov, and Mauricio Herrera, they all turned down a fight. Now, I was talking to a close source, and, you know, don't quote me on this, but this is just what he said. He said, word is Ruslan Provodnikov was asking for $1.5 million to fight against Crawford, which is almost more than what Gennady Golovkin makes. You know, so I don't know how true that is, but that, you know, was the word on the street. Okay, so anyway, this person, I was basically saying that I fear that when it comes to Terrence Crawford, with all these fighters avoiding him, you know, he may not be able to get to where he wants to go, and, you know, which is pound for pound the best fighter in the world, if no one will fight him. And then you'll have, you know, some decabs that'll say, oh, see, look at, he's fighting Hank Lundy. So they're blaming him on fighters that are ducking him. Now I'm going to go ahead and read exactly what this guy basically said. Isn't that the same thing GGG is going through right now that you criticize him for? If GGG would have gotten all the belts by now, he would have moved up already. Crawford went up because he couldn't make 135 anymore. If you watch the HBO show 2 Days or whatever it's called, GG still makes the weight comfortably. The only one stopping him from going up is the champions holding the belts. All right. Now, let me respond, Christian, by first saying this. When you comparing what Gigi is going through to what Terrence Crawford is going through, it's kind of apples and oranges, and I'll tell you why. First of all, Gennady Golovkin was the one that said out of his own mouth that he's willing to fight anyone from 154 to 168. I believe he even said to 175. I know Abel Sanchez told me in an interview that he can go all the way up to 175. He's probably going to have to go to 175 because he's knocking out cruiserweights and sparring. Okay, so once you start calling out fighters at 168, you can't use that I just want to unify the titles at middleweight excuse anymore, because you've already said that you're willing to fight other fighters at 168, and that was before he even unified or attempted to unify the titles at 160. Now, when it comes to Terrence Crawford, he's not saying, I'll fight anyone from 135 to 154, and calling out, someone like, I don't know, like whoever, like a lesser type of opponent at 147, like maybe let's say Guerrero or something like that, someone who's not considered the best fighter in the world, or Victor Ortiz. Imagine Terrence Crawford saying, I'll fight Victor Ortiz and I'll fight Josito Lopez at 147. I'll fight Andre Berto. But then when Keith Thurman calls him out, right? But then when Kell Brook calls him out, he then says, oh, you know what? I'm going to stay over here at 140 and unify the belts. You know what I'm saying? So that's not really the same thing. Now, Boxing Ego, let me get your take on what Christian had to say.
All right. So I want the audience to get their fact checkers. Correct me when I'm wrong, when I said something incorrect. That situation is night and day. You said apples and oranges. I'm going to say night and day, so I agree with you. Comparing Triple G currently, Terrence Crawford makes no sense. Here's why. Terrence Crawford, he has taken some level of risk. He went into Ricky Burns' backyard, right, and took the fight. Ricky Burns was a champion. He was the challenger. Not to mention, Ricky Burns, I thought, lost to Ray Beltran. He broke Ricky Burns' jaw, and Ray Beltran got robbed on the scorecard. So that was a gamble for Crawford to fight Ricky Burns in his backyard. He defeats Ricky Burns and becomes champion. His very first fight, he fights Yuriorkis Gamboa, a slick, fast, powerful, athletic Cuban Olympic gold medalist, right? That's his very first fight. He had the hometown crowd advantage that did in Omaha, but it was still against Gamboa. And he loses the first 5-6 rounds to Gamboa. Deals with that adversity. He looked like he was going to get knocked down, maybe even stopped by Gamboa at one point, and he battles back and defeats Gamboa, becoming the first to defeat as a pro Gamboa and knocking him out, right? Then Terrence Crawford, actually, let me backtrack. Terrence Crawford, get your fact checkers, his manager, Cameron Duncan, did not want him to take a Bradis Prescott fight because he was fighting at 135 at the time, right? And the Bradis Prescott opportunity was 2 weeks' notice, and Prescott was at 140, and he's a Colombian puncher, right? He's the one that knocked out Amir Khan. And against his manager's wishes, Crawford said, no, put me in there with them. I want it. And then he beat Bradis Prescott, right? So he took a fight on 2 weeks' notice against a bigger puncher or a big puncher in a new division with 2 weeks' notice. Now, fast forward to, like I said, the Gamboa, and then he moves up in weight, stops Thomas Delorme, who had been stopped by Bregu, but that was his first fight at 140, and Delorme is a former welterweight, right? And then he fights Gary Jean, a guy who lost to Peterson in a competitive fight, and he stops him for the first time. So what in that whole sequence of Terrence Crawford's career in recent memory resonates with what Triple G's doing? When is Triple G taking a fight with a 2-week notice against a guy in a higher division that was known as an equivalent or bigger puncher? When did he fight an Olympic gold medalist who was undefeated? These are the questions that I have if you want to make that comparison. I'm just saying, how is that? Like, I haven't heard anything that's equivalent. Triple G, Willie Monroe with 6 knockouts. Like, who is Triple G fought that you would say is the Gamboa of his division? A powerful, slick guy and an Olympic gold medalist who's undefeated. Name that person on Triple G's resume. David Lemieux, a champion who never defended. Mm-hmm. I'm not shitting on David Lemieux. He's a solid fighter, but he took 2 back-to-back losses, one being a stoppage, to a guy that Triple G ate up in 2 rounds, which is Marco Antonio Rubio. And I don't do triangle theories, but I'm just stating the fact. I don't know if Lemieux would be Danny Jacobs or Curtis Stevens because he didn't have that opportunity. He went right into the fire, shows he has guts, fought Triple G, the top middleweight, and he lost every round. So maybe he should have took title defenses.
And not only that, but you comparing a 34-year-old guy. I don't even know how old Terrence Crawford is, but I know he's almost 10 years younger.
He's 27, 28 maybe.
He's 27, 28. Okay, well, like I said, he's about 7, 8 years younger. He's a lot younger, and he's already accomplished more. He's already fought better competition. I mean, like I said, Gennady Golovkin, and to Gennady Golovkin's defense, you do have Danny Jacobs and Billy Joe Saunders. They want no part of him. But at the same time, there are other opponents out there that he could fight. I tell you guys all the time that when you had Adrian Broner at 135 and 140, he was calling out all kind of fighters. None of them would fight him. He called out Marquez. He called out Pacquiao. He called out Ricky Burns. He called out Brandon Rios when he was undefeated, right? He called all of them. None of those guys. And then he called out DeMarco. Out of all the guys he called out, DeMarco was the only guy who actually stepped up, right? So when he couldn't get any of those guys, he stepped up in competition. You can go all the way back to Floyd Mayweather when he was fighting at 130. He wanted to fight Naseem Hamed. Naseem Hamed was fighting at 126 at the time. And Floyd was like, we could do it at a catchweight, right? Because, he was trying, because at the time, Naseem Hamed was hot, right? He was hot, and Floyd Mayweather was the future, and that would have been a great fight. Naseem Hamed, he wanted no parts of it. But see, I respect Naseem Hamed because he's one of those rare fighters that avoided Mayweather, but at the same time, he gave Mayweather all the props in the world. So it didn't make it look as bad. He's not like these fighters today. They'll duck and then turn around and say, oh, that person ain't shit, and he ain't that, he ain't this. It kind of remind me of back in the day, you always had that sucker who was, sitting in the house looking out his window. You be calling his ass to come out and fight, and he yelling out the window saying, fuck you, you a punk, but he won't come out the house, right? You got a lot of, window gangsters out here, but anyway.
Or Dante, you can also look at it like this. The two people named, Terrence Crawford, why did he leave from 135? Maybe it was a little bit of a chore to make weight, and it wasn't that stacked of a division. Broner had already moved out of 35 to pursue the Malinadis and Maidanas and people like that. Danny Garcia, nobody was at 135. So Terrence Crawford was the next best thing for his career. Moved up to 40 and fought Delorme. Then he fought Deering. Now he's fighting Lundy.
Yeah. So,
I mean, if you can't get... And see, this is the other thing, Dante, real quick, is why Mayweather, correct? I might be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong. Did Mayweather go up to 154?
Put your phone on mute.
2.5 times?
Hello?
What's going on? What's going on, Moose? Do me a favor, put your phone on mute.
Okay.
So, Dante, just correct me if I'm wrong, but did Mayweather go up to 154 2.5 times to fight guys like De La Hoya, Cotto, and then Canelo at a catchweight?
Absolutely, yeah.
So if Triple G can they say he's a small middleweight and he can make the weight easy, then why can't he go up to 168, pursue whatever option he needs to fight, and then drop back down? And,
yeah.
People act like because he goes to 68, he has to stay there forever.
Yeah.
He can make the weight easy, so he can drop back down to 60 and then pursue the belt.
Well, especially when you tell the public that you're willing to do just that. Once again, I never criticized Gennady Golovkin when he was only fighting at 160. Matter of fact, I was praising Golovkin. You go back and watch my old videos. I was praising Golovkin. I was saying Sergio Martinez needs to fight this man. I was saying Golovkin has done everything that Sergio Martinez has asked, right? And Martinez still won't fight him. But then later on, once Golovkin starts saying, we'll fight anyone from 154 to 165, let's get that chubby kid Chavez. Let's get Carl Froch. You shining the light on yourself when you do that. So that is the difference. Once again, Crawford is not doing that. Crawford is not calling out, Andre Berto and Josito Lopez at 147, but saying he won't fight Keith Thurman, or Errol Spence or Kell Brook. He's not doing that, so he leaves us.
He wanted to fight Pacquiao, which is another weight division.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead before we run out of time, and we could talk about that all day. But first things first, I do want to say thank you, Christian, for your comment. Regardless if you agree or disagree, I appreciate you guys watching the videos. We appreciate the support. Okay, so thanks for the comment. Let's just go to the next comment. Eric, real quick. Okay,
if I can, real quick.
Yeah, I was going to ask you
that subject. I do see one similarity in the two, in that how short their promotional companies have in that division. And what I mean by that is there's not a lot of fighters. It's like who can Terrence Crawford really fight at 140 if he doesn't fight Herrera? There's really no one there for him to fight. They can't go over to the PBC guys because of the squabble. And that's kind of the same thing with GGG, with the exception of Andre Ward. But no, wait, one second. Well,
yeah, let him go. Let him finish. Let him finish.
This is with Top Rank, Rules and Provodnikov with Banner Boxing.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. But do we want to see Terrence Crawford versus Ruslan Provodnikov? That's not a big fight. I mean, it's a good fight. I'd love to see it, but that's not a fight that's going to generate a lot of money.
No.
Go
ahead.
That they're saying he ducked him to fight Lundy. So why wouldn't people want to see Provodnikov now?
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, we'd see it, but is that going to really up Terrence Crawford's status? He's going to either have to move up or find some other competition, somebody from Golden Boys there, or somebody like a Lucas Matthias or something of that nature. He's going to have to go there because Top Rank doesn't have a lot of fighters at junior welterweight.
Yeah, but
that's what I was trying to say.
They say he's ducking somebody. That's why he fought Hank Lundy. Who said that?
No, I never said he was.
No, not no one on the phone. I'm saying people in the comment section say, why is he fighting Lundy? He should have fought Provodnikov.
But when you look at GGG, he's in the same predicament.
He should have fought Andre Ward.
Well, that's a Golden Boy fighter. He's not going to. So far, Top Rank is only doing business with Golden Boy. They're not going to do business with, or not Top Rank main events. They're not going to do business with Heyman, and so that's the issue.
And let's be honest. He called out people he wanted to fight. And at the end of the day, the fights were not made. So we're not going to start with this Terrence Crawford is ducking people. We're not going to do that because in his short amount of time, he has better.
I don't think anyone said Terrence Crawford is ducking.
No, yeah, he didn't say he was ducking. But let me just.
No, not on the phone. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, go ahead. I'll finish after you. Go ahead, Moose.
But all I was saying is I can see the comparison only in that because of the promotional squabbles, they are very lacking fighters that they can really go against that'll make them money. And that's the only reason why I can see the comparison between Terrence Crawford and GGG.
Okay, let me respond.
Triple G had a lot of people he could afford.
Terrence Crawford or Golovkin? That's all I need to know. At this point, who has a better resume? Exactly.
Who would you say has a better resume, Eric?
I mean, I like Terrence Crawford better as a fighter. I like him better because...
No, but just the resume, though. But just the resume.
I think he does have a better resume. However, that's an unfair statement. Because to say that who's fought more top-ranked opponents, without a doubt, Gennady Golovkin. He's fought more number-one ranked opponents and stuff of that nature than Terrence Crawford. But Terrence Crawford... Daniel Jacobs was a former champion. Yeah, Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs was not Daniel Jacobs. I'm sorry, Daniel Gill. Daniel Gill was one. Who was it? David Lemieux. No, I say what you will, but it's like saying Hank Lundy is a great opponent.
Yeah, but saying no, that's not the same because Crawford.
No. Let me rephrase that. I didn't mean it like that. I mean we're trying to compare opponents in their weight class to others, and it's impossible because for a namesake, somebody could be more popular than a fighter who's really good.
Okay,
That's true.
I have a lot to say about this, by the way, but I'm gonna let you guys talk. Go ahead.
I just want to say Daniel Gill, I never rated him that high. He lost to Felix Stern.
The WBA and WBC did.
So, look, Gamboa had no losses to anyone, traveled the weight division, fought people like Salido, had Olympic gold medalists, and power and speed, athleticism. Did Daniel Gill have power? Is he known for power, speed, athleticism, a gold medal? Was he undefeated? No. So, you can't compare. It's clearly... And
that's why I'll give Terrence Crawford the better resume. And that's why I'll give Terrence Crawford the better resume. Would you say that he's
that one, David Lemieux, same thing. He had power, but he's not an athletic, speedy guy. He's not taller than Crawford or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least even the Beltrans, that's a Manny Pacquiao sparring partner. That's good work right there.
No. As far as resume and the fighters they fought, I agree with you. What I'm saying is the shortcomings of the fighters in divisions, there's not a lot of fighters at junior welterweight. There is. I know we say Jose Benavidez, we could say Mauricio Herrera, Hank Lundy, Provodnikov, we can mention all these guys, but those aren't real big names.
No, but see,
the same thing with Gennady Golovkin.
No, that's
he's
not
getting a lot of big names because of that, because he's too risky within his own promotional company to really risk another fighter.
Okay,
you got to chill, and because they're not making fights with each other. When I say that, I mean the promotional companies. There's really no one out there to fight, and so we have these lackluster performances or great performances against lackluster names, and you know, we bitch and complain about it, but that's the reality. Is because of the promotional issues, we're not getting the great fights we should be getting.
I don't agree, because he had a great fight right there in front of him with a man who was willing to give him anything he wanted, meet him at 164, and he never fought him. What was the problem with that fight?
Oh, it was too risky. The same way why no one's fighting. The same way why no one's fighting Terrence Crawford. No one's arguing that fact. However,
so we can't compare Triple G and Terrence Crawford. I personally don't think it's the same thing. I think it's totally different.
Okay, hold on. Let me.
Who can Terrence Crawford challenge? Who can Terrence Crawford challenge?
Victor
Who
Postal.
Can he really challenge out there?
Victor Postal.
Keith Thurman?
Who he can challenge, that's two different weight classes right now. Eventually, he will move up because he's a young man and he's growing. He's going to move up to welterweight. He's not going to stay at 140. But you have a man in Triple G who's not young.
Outside of Pacquiao, what's going to be that great fight for Terrence Crawford? And that's the problem we're having.
Okay, hold on. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and chime in.
That's not the problem with Triple G. I'm sorry. It's not because the fight can't.
If you fought Daniel Jacobs, if you fought Peter Quillen, I think he would be able to prove his class.
Okay.
Because of the promotional squabbles, they never will.
Okay, hold on, guys. Hold on. I gotta chime in. I chilled for a minute. So let me just let me get caught up now. Now, Eric, one of the first things I noticed you said was Provodnikov was not a big fight. I find that so ironic because we had.
Let me rephrase that. When I say that, I mean that's not the fight that's going to define Terrence Crawford.
Listen. Think about what you're saying real quick. What fight defined Gigi? Because they're calling him pound for pound the best fighter in the world. They're praising this dude left and right, and he's fought Willie Monroe. He's fought Rubio. He's fought David Lemieux. Now, just think about this for a second. When it comes to Terrence Crawford has Benavidez. He has Herrera. He has Pacquiao. He has Ruslan Provodnikov. Now, what's his name? Mauricio Herrera said himself, he said that a Ruslan Provodnikov fight is bigger, that he believes that's bigger than a Crawford fight. He said he believes the fans would prefer to see that. So think about that. Yeah, for him. But if Crawford is fighting against both of these guys, you know, that's a bigger fight.
But as we said, Crawford's in another class. These are fights where we rate Crawford to win these fights easily. Well, Crawford's in another class. I'm talking about when you get to that special class where you're making the number one ranked opponents in your division look like chumps. You're in a special class, and that's what I'm saying. In order for him to have had that career-defining fight, he's almost in a Triple G position of no one's going to fight him, and he's going to have to take an unheard of risk like fighting an Andre Ward in order to get the money and the namesake, and it's never going to happen.
No, that's not true. So that's not true at all. You don't have to fight Andre Ward. If he fights,
I'm saying an Andre Ward for Terrence Crawford to get that namesake, he needs to fight a Pacquiao.
No. That's not true. If you can. Go ahead.
My question is this. Mauricio Herrera, we all know, has probably been on the wrong side of some decisions.
A lot of them.
And Danny Garcia. So he's still a respected champ. But what you're saying is basically he has a set of rules. And for him, Ruslan fight is the biggest fight. But since Terrence Crawford has proven he has a different set of rules that Ruslan fight for him doesn't make that.
Exactly. And this is why, because Terrence Crawford and Mauricio Herrera is going to be a good fight. It's going to be an action-packed fight. It's almost like a Gotti Ward, not to that level, let me say that, but it's going to be a fight that fans like to see. Now, with Provodnikov, Terrence Crawford, as you mentioned last week, Provodnikov has lost how many? 5 of his last 8 fights or whatever, or 4 of his last 7. He's not that namesake that's going to take Terrence Crawford to the next level.
Okay, but my question to you is this. Why would it be a big fight for Mauricio Herrera, who's already had the wins over Ruslan Provodnikov, but if Crawford fights him, you're saying it's not a big fight. So why would it be a big fight for Herrera, who already beat him?
Because Mauricio Herrera he's on the tail end of his career. He's 35 years old. Yeah. And, I love Mauricio Herrera. I think he is a great, should have been champion many times over. And, El Maestro is definitely a favorite of mine. However, at the same time, I'm not going to rate him above Terrence Crawford and say he's better than Terrence Crawford. Him fighting Provodnikov, Terrence Crawford, is not the same as Mauricio Herrera fighting Provodnikov. Those are totally different, completely fights.
Why do people hate Mayweather versus Berto? Mayweather was older than 35, so if it's about age and what you've proven, he just came off the Pacquiao win. So why?
No, that's the same as saying Mauricio Herrera's on the same level as Mayweather. I think we both know that's ridiculous.
No, but so you're talking about age. I think it's ridiculous that you're talking about age as a.
No, I'm saying in Mauricio's case. You're looking at Mauricio's case of he can't fight Adrian Broner, he can't fight Lamont Peterson, he can't fight any of these guys within his stable. Provodnikov makes the most money for him, and that will be the most pleasurable fight for some of the fans out there. A lot of people like that matchup. However, I understand what you're saying. How could it be a big fight for Mauricio, but not for Terrence Crawford? Simply because Terrence Crawford is a special fighter.
But no one is calling Herrera old. You just said that yourself, Eric. Nobody. I haven't seen that in the comment section. I've heard everyone praise Herrera as a beast. He's been robbed so many times. He's one of the best fighters. Nobody. I mean, you have to understand something. If this was a trend where everyone was saying, well, Herrera is past his prime, so it wouldn't have mattered if we would have watched the Terrence Crawford fight. No one was saying that. The only people that really defended Herrera, they defended him, when it comes to money. No one said.
We've taken a very simple question, have turned it completely around. The simple question, the original question, was whether or not that there was a comparable situation between Triple G and Terrence Crawford. I said yes, simply because of the promotional issues. However, it has been tremendously turned around to try to get me in this little trap. I love it.
Get you in the trap? Yeah, how we get you in the trap? I didn't even ask you the question, Eric. I didn't even ask you the question, Eric.
No, I'm playing.
It's all good. I'm playing around. Hey, no, but Eric, this is once again, this is good. This is just good that we turned this question and into a real conversation. But yeah, going back to the original question, okay, this guy was basically saying it's the same thing as Crawford. But think about this, Eric. Isn't it different that Gigi, he opened himself up more by saying, I'm willing to fight from 154 to 168. That's why I'm saying it's not the same thing, Eric. If Crawford, I mean, because honestly, we start talking about something that really had nothing to do with the question, but it was good for conversation. But like I said, we're looking at what they have in common, and what they have and what they don't have in common is, once again, Crawford is fighting at 140. Crawford is trying to fight everyone at 140. Okay, like I said before,
no one wants to fight him.
No one wants to fight him. Now, Golovkin, to his credit, he wants to fight Danny Jacobs and Billy Joe Saunders, and they don't want to fight him. That's not Golovkin's fault. I wanted to see those fights, but what I said before, if you can't get them to fight you, you look elsewhere, right? If you got two chicks that just dished your ass at the club, are you going to stop talking to chicks? No, you're going to go look for another chick to talk to, right? So this is the whole thing right here. When it comes to Golovkin, there are other options. He has Edislandi Lara, who's calling him out. I talked to Edislandi Lara's manager, and he said to me, he said to me, we could fight on HBO. It don't make if you could make a Mayweather Pacquiao fight, we can make this fight. We're willing to fight on HBO. So that PBC, HBO, Showtime excuse is just that, an excuse. Okay, so Golovkin, the difference is there are guys out there with good enough names that are willing to fight Golovkin. Okay, when it comes to Crawford, almost everybody and their grandma is ducking him right now. Victor Postol is the only fighter that I see that's actually willing to fight him, but I got to find out who's promoting him because I don't know, and we need to talk to Bob Arum and see, if that fight is down the line. Huh?
I thought he was under Top Rank.
You know what? I've been searching for it, and I'm not really sure. All I know is Bob Arum has never brought up Victor Postol's name because remember he just fought Matisse, and Matisse is with Golden Boy, and I didn't see Bob Arum anywhere around in that fight, so I don't know.
I think
The thing with Terrence Crawford is he's in the situation that Mayweather was in when he was young and then on come up. You know, Mayweather was calling out the Shane.
Yep.
He was calling out the Casazu.
Nassim Hamed, Acelino Freitas, Casamayor.
But the problem was his name and money was not worth the risk. That's the problem with Crawford right now. Not that they don't want to ever fight him, but they want to get paid to take that risk. And
they want severance pay. They want severance pay.
And I'm not. And listen, boxing is a business. I'm not mad at them for saying that. But when you have a man like Triple G, actually, he said he could fight anybody from 154 to 175. I mean, let's keep it real. He didn't stop at 168. He said 175. Come on. So if that's the case, and you have all these fighters that you can fight, I can't go with the fact that everybody's ducking him. I don't believe it. I just don't.
That everyone is ducking Golovkin.
And I think this Miss Boxing Baby said about 10, 15 minutes ago. The Team Triple G, they are being ducked. Don't get it twisted. There are people that I feel that Sergio Martinez didn't want no issue with Triple G.
But Sergio Martinez wasn't even a natural. He wasn't even a natural middleweight. He wasn't even a natural middleweight.
No, but he was ducking though. But hey, if you're gonna call yourself the middleweight champion, you got to fight everybody though. You know.
Yeah, he was a lineal champion.
I don't really like to use that word, but go ahead.
Yeah,
he was a lineal middleweight champion. So Cotto didn't want to fight, just like Martinez. So there are people that have avoided Triple G, just like Miss Boxing Baby said earlier. They're selectively choosing. If that is the case, and you're the boogeyman to some, and there are people like Ward and Edeslandi Lord, you got to do what you got to do for your career. So at the same time, it's not the same as Terrence Crawford, because name somebody like Andre Ward got a video on YouTube. Google it right now, where he called him Little G. Said he got hung up on in 5 minutes. Name somebody who has a signed contract or made the call to Terrence Crawford and he turned down the fight. And they're calling him Little Terrence or something like that.
Little T.
Little T. Like, nobody's calling like Terrence Crawford the Victor Postal good fight, but I've never seen Victor Postal do an interview saying, "Hey, we called them and they hung up on us. They didn't want it." I never seen like the video you posted, Dante, where the Cuba's Edeslandi Laura's manager is saying, "We'll go to HBO." I never seen somebody like flat out refuse Terrence Crawford flat out refuse someone, but I've seen Team Triple G. James DeGale's calling them out. And I don't hear no type of action about Triple G possibly negotiating, going to the UK or whatever.
Yeah, so that's another fighter that's calling him out. That's another fight. So that's 3 fighters. That's 3 fighters right there.
They love calling out smaller guys. When Mayweather was calling dudes out, these dudes were bigger than him. They were much bigger than him, with the exception of Marquez and Pacquiao, who he never called out anyway. But those guys were bigger than him. Triple G and his team love calling out smaller dudes. Miguel Cotto is a blown-up 140-pounder. Come on now. Stop it.
And the thing is, why we get... If you're being avoided by those people, don't you just move on? Like, okay,
that's what I said. That's what I said.
Cotto's too small. He didn't want to make the fight. So you will just continue waiting for Cotto, and not take the James DeGale.
Yeah, sitting on the porch. Sitting on the porch waiting for somebody to come outside. Yeah.
That's what they can call it. Then they say Andre Ward is the one that's waiting around for him.
Hey,
he just want to prove to the world that he can beat him.
Yeah, and let me just say this. Go ahead.
If you broke and then you're waiting on a certain job, let's say you're going to get a job at the hospital, right? You're going to get a job at the hospital, and that's the job you really want, and they're not calling you back, and you need the money because you got to pay rent, and you get a job at Blockbuster Video, they're offering you a job. Macy's is offering you a job. What are you going to say? Oh, I'm not taking it. I'm waiting for this.
Yeah, exactly. Common sense. Sense.
Before y'all get off the subject, let me just ask: where does Terrence Crawford? The reason why I put him together was simply because of the fact no one will fight him, and the only people who they even got a chance to fight are going to be very, very dangerous risks. So where would Terrence Crawford go after the Sunday fight? Who is the big fight? And in the same token, who is the big fight for Gennady Golovkin next? Who can they both get to solidify their careers?
Victor Postal is a big fight for Terrence Crawford, and you know,
100%. What if?
And I think,
but who could he fight that would make this panel say he is great? And besides, and obviously it's not.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me just say this too, Eric. It's not always the guy who you fighting doesn't always have to be pound for pound number 9, number 8, because Golovkin hasn't fought any pound for pound fighters, and people are calling him the best fighter in the world. Some people are saying, oh, just because he knocks people out, right? But this is what I'm saying. It's also about contrast as well. If you have someone like Crawford who can go in there and dominate and knock out a Mauricio Herrera, that is going to look vicious. Remember, before Manny Pacquiao fought before he fought Floyd Mayweather, you had people who kept saying, "Oh, well, look at what Manny Pacquiao did to Ricky Hatton. Look at what he did to Oscar De La Hoya." Right? Even though they were coming off of losses, but people were still comparing it, and they were trying to say Pacquiao was better than Floyd because of what he did to the same opponents. But like I said, that didn't apply because Pacquiao was fighting them after losses. But so what I'm saying is, once again, yeah, so when it comes to Crawford, if Crawford goes in there and knocks Provodnikov out like he ain't nobody and plays with him, and no one's ever done that before, oh yeah, you climbing up the rankings, no doubt about it.
Oh, no.
No doubt about it.
What I'm getting at is both guys are going to have to move up in weight. It's inevitable. No one's going to fight them. They're too good for their own division.
Yeah.
Triple G's not moving up in weight.
No, he probably won't, but they're going to have to get the big fight.
No, he won't.
Because
nobody
will.
He won't have to because he's 34.
I agree. No, he probably won't. I'm not trying to...
No, he's going to have to. But point taken, he is going to have to, though. Golovkin...
And that's why I say they're similar. That's the only reason why I say they're similar. And nothing to do with resumes or skills.
Excuse me,
but that's kind of...
forced to move up.
But
34-0 now. When is he going to be forced to win?
No, I don't know, but he has to, and that's the point we're trying to make here, isn't it? He has to move up in weight.
And that's
the same thing that's going to happen to Terrence Crawford. No one is going to fight him at 140.
I got to say this real quick. The thing is, and this is why it's not the same, is because people like Manny Pacquiao, he was a candidate for Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford did videos saying, "I want the Pacquiao fight," and Pacquiao didn't select him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't select him. So that's what I'm saying. He had an opportunity to prove, and that person who could have picked him, easily picked Terrence Crawford, probably paid him less money than he's paying Timothy Bradley in the third rematch.
Mm-hmm.
And if Manny Pacquiao won't fight Terrence Crawford at 147, who is going to fight Terrence Crawford at 140? And that's what I'm saying.
Listen, let me go real quick before we run out of time.
I'm saying the situation is different because Pacquiao, he could have selected Terrence Crawford. So Golovkin got to deal with his own thing. So he has to deal with his reality. And if guys like James DeGale are calling you out, then maybe
at a higher division
types of things.
Pacquiao's
at a higher division for Crawford.
Exactly, and they both are going to have to. Now, I get what you're saying, and it isn't different because Pacquiao, he's the one who said no to Crawford, and I get that. That is the point. What I'm saying is they're both going to have to move up in weight, and that's why I say.
But let me go. Hold on, we're down to 5 minutes, guys, and I want to say, first of all, I want to say before I make my next point is, they're calling. You got fighters calling Triple G Little G. They not calling Crawford Little T. They calling his ass Mr. T. I mean, if we being real, when you look at everybody who's avoiding him. Let's go back to the first line that Christian said. He said, "Isn't that the same thing Gigi is going through right now that you criticize him for?" He's not really saying, Eric, what you're saying. What he's saying is, he's saying that Gigi, that's what I'm saying. We're going back to that comment. He's not saying what you're saying. He's saying that nobody is willing to fight Gigi, just like no one is willing to fight Crawford. He's not talking about divisions. He said nobody is willing to fight these guys, and that's not true because you have 3 guys with big names that are willing to fight what's his name, Gennady Golovkin, and would actually catapult Golovkin's career if Golovkin were to fight them. Okay? He has a pound-for-pound fighter who wanted to fight him. He didn't fight him. But Crawford is the opposite. Crawford, he wanted to fight the pound-for-pound fighter, which is Manny Pacquiao. So that's the complete opposite. But real quick, we down to like 2 minutes. Wish we had a little bit more time. I wanted to throw this question in real quick because I promised I was going to answer his question as well. Shouts out to my man, Boxing Phenom. Boxing Phenom 95, or I should say Boxing Phenom. He basically said, yo, Dante, who would you favor against Errol Spence at 147? And right now, and I want to get a quick answer from you guys because he has another question as well. I want to try to squeeze it in as well. But right now, it's hard to favor someone over Errol Spence. But I will say I believe, and this is just what I believe, that I believe Errol Spence's toughest opponent right now will be Kell Brook. I that's just what I personally believe. I believe that's the toughest fight. Real quick from all you guys, or let's just go Eric Morales, real quick.
Ooh, It's pass. Go to the next guy. I would answer later.
Okay, no problem. Boxing Ego?
I don't know if I would favor him over. I think the toughest fights are Keith Thurman, Pacquiao, and Kell Brook. I mean, I don't know if who I would pick. It just depends, but those are the toughest fights for him. Me.
Okay, Moose. Okay, well, one more last question. What we got? I got one more question. We got a couple minutes left. Okay, we just got one more question. This is also from Boxing Phenom 95. He also asked, how would we see a Mayweather versus Margarito fight playing out? I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys run this one. Ego, how would it play out?
Mayweather unanimous decision. It's just because Margarito is way too slow. He's a volume guy, but he's slow. Pacquiao's a volume guy. He usually throws a lot of punches, and Mayweather reduced him to throwing 71 punches, and this is late in Mayweather's career. So if they would have fought when they were talking to fight or whatever, or if people wanted that fight way back when, Mayweather's probably sharper, just like Margarito is probably a little bit sharper too. But that volume was slowed down because he's just too slow. And Mayweather, being the defensive wizard, would pop.
Eric Morales.
If Margarito could have bullied him to the ropes, I think he would have had some success. However, I do think Mayweather would have still won a decision, but I think it would have been one of those controversial decisions where the public might have think Margarito did enough, but fans and pretty much all the critics would have thought that Mayweather won rightfully, similar to a Marcos Maidana fight. The one thing that Margarito did better than everyone else was go to the body. Whenever you see people fight Mayweather, they all of a sudden become headhunters and miss. I think Margarito would have still gone to the body and caused some issues, similar to Jose Luis Castillo. But as I said, I think Mayweather, as the great champion he is and always will be, would have found a way to eke out that victory.
Maidana is extremely unorthodox, and Margarito is very orthodox. You know, everything he does is tailor-made. I think that's an easy decision.
Absolutely.
I think that's an easy decision. I think that's an easy decision for Floyd Mayweather. He does deal with some scares in the fight, like you said. If he tries to get Floyd on the ropes, but Floyd Mayweather is either going to show the rope, counter off the ropes, or he's going to tie him up, get off the ropes, and take it back to the center of the ring. If you look at the Shane Mosley fight, Shane Mosley is nowhere near as good of a boxer as Floyd. No offense to Mosley. Mosley is a beast, and he's a great boxer, but Floyd is just on another level. So if Mosley can outbox Margarito, if Pacquiao can outbox Margarito, I have a feeling the best boxer of our generation would box the shit out of Margarito. And with that, guys, I got to go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks, man. Thanks to everybody on the panel for giving a great show. You know, we're going to continue this next week. Check it out next week. Like I said, Hank Lundy is the special guest. We'll see you guys next week. On to the next one, baby. It is The Nation.